So yesterday, Netflix premiered the 6-episode miniseries Sneakerheads starring Alan Maldonado. You've got King Bach, Jernus Corchado, and then Matthew Jostin.
Sometimes the perfect score is right in front of us.
The Zeros are nothing but an urban legend.
That's what I thought too, until I saw this. That's it, the Zero.
So I'm gonna take a couple of minutes to give my honest review of the miniseries, what I thought about it, and then, whether or not it truly depicts what we in the sneaker community endure. Anytime there's a product, if there's anything that's gonna highlight, sneaker culture or sneaker in general, the community scrutinizes it like no other, man. It's our thing, right? Sneakers is something that we've always gravitated towards, and that's something we hold on and hold near and dear. And for those outsiders who don't understand, it's a conversation that's usually met with a lot of questions more than answers. So, anytime there's a product that's being put out there that's going to highlight that, broadcast it for the world to see, we always want to make sure it's done right. It tells the right story. First and foremost, what I'll say about this is I don't know what anybody was expecting. I hope we weren't expecting like some big budget production or anything like that. It's pretty much in line with what I thought it would be, kind of just like this low budget, comedy series or whatever that you see on Netflix. King Bach is in it, so we're not expecting some Emmy nominated performance. Overall, for somebody being a YouTuber or somebody on Vine, he's a really good actor. I think he's got some natural skills, so I appreciate that. Doesn't really say much about the sneaker portion of it, but I can appreciate his work. I can tell he works at his craft and he's pretty good at it. The storyline is he sees the Jordan 4, the white cements, and then it becomes this hunt story that turns into this bigger thing, and it turns into just like the Grail of all Grails hunt, across 6 episodes. And interesting storyline, not too far off from what a lot of us experiences, but if you read between the lines, it's telling some intricate stories there that I feel like touch me personally because I've had to go through them over the years. So first off, the easiest thing is the hunt, right? Like there's the shoes that we really, really want, and we will go at great lengths to go and obtain. Whether you're waiting in lines or you're paying just ridiculous amounts of money for the shoe, like a lot of people do crazy things to obtain. You're trading up different things or you're traveling far distances. So that's pretty true to form, right? Some things that we would do as sneakerheads. And another thing that it touches on is just like the family impact of the obsession or an addiction, if you will, just like anything else out there. With sneakers, I have had to go through that same experience where, I've had arguments and fights with, my ex-girlfriends about, my sneakers and buying at such a high clip and, not taking care of my priorities. So, that's always been, a topic of conversation when it comes to sneakers. I've had to scale back. I've bought sneakers sneakingly behind, my girlfriend's back before. And, it's just things that, silly things that you do just to have a shoe. So I think that part of the story hits the nerve where he's, having that conversation with his wife and she's like, I'm leaving. And, it gets serious. Like people don't understand. It becomes real heavy at times. Another thing that I think that it really hits on is like, after the hunt, what's next? You get the shoe, what's next, right? Like I've felt like that before where it's like I have this grail or this shoe that I coveted and I don't have that feeling that I thought I would have. And it happens with a lot of things. It's not just sneakers, it's anything. We covet material things, and once we've obtained them, you realize that it does not make you whole. It doesn't complete you. And I think that's what sneakers is notorious for. It's like giving you this empty sense of accomplishment. It gives you this empty sense of completeness, and it's crazy. No, it's something that and I think that for me, part of that addiction is you continue to hunt until you feel like you've felt it or you've achieved it. So you continue to buy, you continue to stock up, and it just turns into a situation where now you're a hoarder, you've got hundreds of pairs of shoes, and you don't feel any different than you did the first time. So what I will say is very important to understand is why we do this, right? In the show, he talks about the Jordan 4 being the shoe that he met his wife in, you know, and it's that nostalgia that he was chasing, that feeling. And then when he actually got that at the end, it was something that was like, okay, that makes me, everything else didn't matter, right? When you take it back to the essence, when you peel back all the extra stuff, this is what it was. My wife, these shoes, it takes me back to this place in time. This is how I felt. I feel it all over again. End of story. That's what it's about. That's what the sneaker game for me is about. Like, it's just a story. It's a stamp. It's a place and a time. You can remember where you were. You know what music came out during that time period. Like, it's just that feeling that you get, and it takes you back. And that's why a lot of these OG sneakerheads, man, are just so passionate about it, because they can tell you a story behind the shoe. So I think it was a good job in presenting that piece of the story. You know, another thing is you deal with some shady people in the game, and everybody's done it. There's people who do you dirty. You've done people dirty. You've been lowballed. You've gotten bad deals, bad trades. I've had all of that happen. I think when I first started getting serious back in like 2002, 2003, like my first go round, I was getting fakes that I didn't even know were fakes. I remember the first trade that I ever did. It was my pair of OG 14s in white and green. It's not indigo. I can't remember what they were, because I think the indigo were the black ones. But they were white in the green, and I traded them for a pair of Raptor 7s, which I thought were going to be in the same condition. Man, I was so disappointed. And this was somebody on Nike Talk that was pretty popular. You know, he had some good reputation. But I traded them up, and I got garbage 7s for my 14s. And I don't think I've actually made a trade ever since then. I think that was the only time I ever traded up on sneakers, you know. But I've bought fakes in the early on, and, you know, not knowing what I know now. But, you know, I was on eBay thinking, oh, this is a colorway. Nobody's going to have this. This is going to be dope. So kind of like just the standard noob, you know, idea, you know, when it comes to sneakers. We go through it, and the story talks about it. The storyline is definitely talking about it. Now, I don't want to give a lot of details out, because there are people who haven't watched the series, or, you know, or plan to watch it later on. So I just want to say that for me, you know, if I was to rate it, I would probably give it a 6 or 7 out of 10. I think, again, it has some good points. It touches on a lot of different aspects of, you know, the sneaker game. Now, does it do it in a way that I would like to see it? I don't know. I don't know what I would expect to see, but I understand, right? And I think that's something that only people within our community could understand. Thank you so much for entertaining this small niche of highly addicted sneaker fanatics. Like, I think this was, you know, something that we always enjoy or anticipate, you know, but we also, like I said, we really tear into it. If it doesn't represent well, we're going to give you a bad look. If it does represent well, kudos, of course. I think the cool thing about it all is that the world now understands that sneakers are a thing. You know, we don't have to fight to try to justify what we do, spending large amounts of money, large amount of time trying to get our hands on, you know, rare sneakers. Of course, the resale market has perpetuated a lot of different things now as well. When we talk about the essence of the sneaker game, you know, I think Sneakerheads does a decent job of touching on that. Post a comment below if you've watched the whole series. Let me know what you think of it. You know, do you think that it could have been done better? What would you have liked to have seen? You know, what's missing from that series? You know, I don't think the world is ready to understand a lot of the seriousness. I mean, we know it can be cutthroat. We know it can be dangerous. You know, there's a lot of different aspects, you know, that we don't want to glorify at all. So, you know, I'm sure it was thought about, but overall decent. I'm not gonna rag on it too much, man. I think it was all right. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst by far. I've seen some terrible things before. I think a lot of it's in line with my story, you know, and maybe many others as well. But that's all I've got. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Y'all be easy. Peace.